What's happening, Ohio Cannabis Report family? It's your boy Gerald Moore Jr. checking in with another episode of the Ohio Cannabis Report. I know it's been a couple days, been a lot going on. Family sick, not doing well, so I've been taking care of the family. So sorry I missed you guys for a few days, but we do have some updates coming out of the cannabis community and the cannabis industry. Please make sure you guys follow, make sure you guys subscribe. Follow us on all of our social media platforms: Facebook, Threads, TikTok, Instagram, Substack. A lot of those links are in our bio. And so if you're on there, make sure you just search Ohio Cannabis Report and we'll pretty much pop up on all those platforms. We're also on LinkedIn as well. Just a disclaimer, this is for news, entertainment purposes only. I am not a lawyer. I am not affiliated with any of the cannabis companies. And so this is for just my opinion. So this is not representative of anything or anybody that I work with. This is just my opinion, thoughts, news articles, and commentary about what's going on in Ohio cannabis industry. Obviously, there's a lot of things happening globally in our society. There's a lot of shifts happening culturally, societally. So we continue to tap in, and hopefully you guys are finding value in this information. We do look forward to bringing you guys some more interviews and stuff as I get people to join the conversation. So if you want to be interviewed on the Ohio Cannabis Report, please reach out to us on our email. And so you can email us at the bottom of the screen, ohiocannabisreport@gmail.com. If you want to be interviewed, if you have a business, small business, if you are an advocate, cannabis consumer, and you just want to share your story about how cannabis has impacted your life. If you've been somebody that's been impacted by the war on drugs, or somebody in your family's been impacted by the war on drugs, we want to hear your story. I mean, one of the problems with our society is we're not hearing enough stories of the people. You know, we hear stories of wealthy people, we hear stories of the millionaires, the billionaires, the good athletes, the entertainers, but everybody deserves to have their story heard, because one, there's so many people that often feel like they're the only ones dealing with a certain situation, because again, they just haven't been exposed to other people that have been in similar situations. So the beautiful thing about social media and the internet is that when you share your story, you quickly find out that there are other people with similar situations as you, and it helps you to find that community. And that's the beautiful thing about cannabis, is it's really about community, finding your tribe, finding your growers and those people that create medicine that specifically can help you. And so that's what we aim to do. Also, we do have an event coming up in a couple months that I am currently organizing, the Central Ohio Cannabis Social Equity Forum and Discussion Panel. That will be on April 4th. So mark your calendars for April 4th, 2026. We do have tickets. Tickets are on sale for $10, just to help cover costs for the event space. This is a nonprofit event, so part of the earnings from this event will go to supporting Green Environmental Outreach, which is a 501c3 nonprofit focused on, it's a veteran-founded nonprofit, and focuses on social justice, social equity, environmental justice, food justice and equity, veterans' mental health, physical health, and obviously bringing cannabis education and resources to underserved communities. So that will help us greatly. We are also looking for people, small businesses, community organizations that would like to have a table or like to have some of their resources at the event. We do have a $50 resource table. So you can have, pamphlets, resources. Those people that sign up for that will get 2 tickets to the event. We also have a community social equity partnership sponsorship opportunity for $250 for bigger organizations, to help us again, spread awareness about social equity, social justice in the cannabis industry for communities that have been most harmed by the war on drugs over the last 6 decades in the United States. So we have a great panel lined up for you guys. I guess I could tell you guys some of the panelists. We have uh, um, uh, Karen O'Keefe out of Michigan. So she is a lawyer with the Marijuana Policy Project. She won't be in person, but she says she can do virtual, which will be dope. We got Anthony Riley, who is the founder of Ohio Cannabis Live and the Ohio Cannabis Expo. He also has a Cannabis Expo coming up in Columbus this year. We have Bree Bates, who is Ebony Empress. She's a cannabis influencer and podcast host and producer. So she'll be helping moderate and host the event. Sarah Koya out of Athens, Ohio. She's also she is a grower. She also is an entrepreneur and a cannabis advocate and activist. She's testified plenty of times in front of this or at the State House. So she'll be on the panel as well. And I think I'm missing. Who am I missing? Oh, and I got Ronnie, my guy Ronnie out of Athens as well. So Ohio Boys. So he has his own genetics company and seed company, but he's a veteran and he also does a lot of veteran work where he gives away a lot of clones and product to veterans out in Athens. You can typically find him at a lot of the different events around town. So he's on there. And then we also have Tasha Roundtree out of Dayton, Ohio. Tasha Roundtree is she's a heavy hitter, man. She's out of Dayton. She's done a lot of community work, community activism work. She's testified at the State House again against SB 56. So she's on there as well. So we look forward to this panel. Who else I got? I got my board right here. I'm still putting it together. So I'll show you guys. You guys can go to Eventbrite too and look up that event. It's just Central Ohio Cannabis Social Equity Forum. I'll bring that up here on the episode. I'm not going to do a long episode today. I'm kind of tired. Been a long week. When your wife gets sick, my son is sick. Me and my daughter are the only ones not sick. So the wife got COVID. So she is not feeling well at all. If you pray, send prayers, send healing vibes, we appreciate it. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I hope you guys are doing well too. I think we're up to like 186 subs on YouTube now. So our next big goal is 200. Total, we already over 200 because we do have another page. So I started this page from scratch. So. But definitely follow us on all of our social media platforms. I'm excited for 2026. I'm definitely excited to get back outside and do more events. Planning events is not easy. Trying to get sponsorships, trying to get support for those events is not always easy, especially in the cannabis space. So we will be doing that. Let me share my screen really quick. I hope you guys are doing awesome though. And again, as I'm rusty because I haven't been on in a few days. All right, there we go. All right, so here's our first article of the day. Ohio cities, towns receiving marijuana checks by David Beasley. So you got for cities and towns in Ohio that have allowed recreational marijuana dispensaries, it's payday time. A 10% tax on cannabis products approved by Ohio voters in 2023 goes to cities and towns with dispensaries at 36% rate of the tax revenue. According to the state law, this month, cities and towns with dispensaries are receiving their first checks, a total of $33 million. The city of Piqua is one of those with a check for $438,000, which it plans to use for park improvements. Quote, local governments, including Piqua, decided to allow recreational marijuana sales within their communities based on the understanding that the funds should come back to local control to best serve the individual needs of the community, end quote, City Manager Paul said in the statement. Again, social equity was supposed to be a part of that. It's supposed to go to communities most harmed by the war on drugs to help people with addiction, recovery, uh, any type of issue, helping to go towards getting into the cannabis industry legally. Obviously, a lot of people are still on the legacy market because they can't afford the licensing or the build out cost of a dispensary, cultivator, processor facility, which again, it's an all cash business. So you can't just go take to the bank and take out a loan, right? So again, that's why we're talking about social equity, because social equity is supposed to help poor working class people that were interested in getting into the legal cannabis industry. It was supposed to help them do that, but obviously, SB 56 gutted the social equity funds out of the bill. So those are some of the things that we are fighting for still. A small town called 7 Mile Village, which has a population of only 712 people and an annual budget of about $75,000, received a check for $400,000. State Senator Steve Huffman, a Republican from Tip City, told the Center Square. Huffman, a medical doctor, opposed legalizing recreational marijuana in Ohio, but once it was approved by the voters, sponsored legislation that established regulations for dispensaries and a mechanism for distributing some of the tax revenues to local governments. They also took away social equity, put that money back into the general fund. Quote, the people have spoken, end quote. People spoken. Y'all didn't listen about anything else. Weird. Huffman said of the 2023 referendum, quote, I'm proud to see the funding distributed across Ohio and look forward to seeing the ways these funds will benefit local communities, end quote. There were proposals to tax recreational marijuana as high as 20%, Huffman said, but the lawmakers settled on 10%. Quote, if you tax something too high, then people will go to the illicit market, end quote, which they already are going to the illicit market because they were already on the illicit market. Weed's too expensive, microwave mids, you know what I mean? So the senator said, quote, we're trying to provide a safe avenue for people, end quote. The revenue checks may convince cities and towns that rejected marijuana dispensaries to reconsider, Huffman said. Quote, there are jurisdictions that have buyer's remorse, end quote, he said. Quote, they may be wishing they had a dispensary so that they would have gotten some of the tax money, end quote. It's not too late. There are currently 176 marijuana dispensaries in Ohio, but state law allows up to 400. Again, that 400 was something that they put into the bill as well, SB 56. Quote, those governments that have moratoriums can revoke them and make that decision to bring in business, quote, end quote, Huffman said. That's another article. Yep. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. And then the group that did submit the referendum, they got rejected. And then I believe they just resubmitted. Here goes another article about some of the funds. Cleveland nets $740,000 from recreational marijuana sales after the state releases tax money. Cleveland, Ohio, adults buying recreational marijuana netted over $740,000 for Cleveland's coffers since buying weed at dispensaries first became legal in Ohio. The city received its share of marijuana tax dollars from the state last week. City spokesperson Tyler Sinclair confirmed it comes after Cleveland and other cities were left to wait for their share of the tax levied on recreational sales. Ohio voters approved. We already read that. Let's see if there's anything different. State lawmakers in December cleared up the controversy by passing Senate Bill 56, clearing the way for the state to distribute the sales tax money to communities. The remaining 64% goes to the state's coffers. Wonder what they're going to use with that 64%, which I think police, probably. State Senator Steve Huffman announced on January 9th that the state was beginning to send some of the money to the communities where dispensaries are located. Let me see. Oh, you already read that. So yeah, Cleveland getting 740,000. Ohio releases 42 or 4.2 million in cannabis taxes. Let's see who else got some money. Let's see. Quote, when Ohio voters approved adult use legalization, they envisioned real measurable benefits for local communities, also social equity, social justice for communities most harmed by the war on drugs, typically black and brown, poor people. And these distributions show that the model works, end quote. Nicole Stark, CEO of Bloom Cannabis, a Columbus-based dispensary chain, said of the funding release. Let's see if we got anything different that we need to discuss. Man arrested in drug trafficking investigation. Deputy stop robbery at marijuana business. It's Ohio. It's Oklahoma. How I type in marijuana for Ohio and they give me Oklahoma. Let me see. Let me. What's good? What's good? Oh, we got in the chat. What in the chat? Right, 712 people. Yeah, small town. That's the thing about Ohio, man. It's all these small towns. It's so broken up, and every town has its own, city council, city manager. And I feel like that's why Ohio's so all over the place, right? Like, again, you got cities with moratoriums. So a lot of these suburban communities, right? Like your more white, upper class, upper middle class, super privileged folks, like Upper Arlington, has a moratorium against cannabis. But that's why, I try to have this platform in hopes to reach more people because, again, a lot of our news platforms have been depleted over the last decade or so plus because, obviously automation, things like that. My wife is a news anchor, so I know these things. But we don't have enough journalists, and I'm not a journalist. I don't take on that journalism tag. Like, I got a degree in healthcare administration. Okay. But this is something for me to stay active, stay involved, learn, because I can't be outside all the time on the streets. Yeah, what I mean. So I try to, get the news, share it, spread the news, because I know everybody's not receiving it, right? The state's not giving everything. So I try to, let me see, capital. I'm rusty. I got to get back in my groove, y'all. I got to get back in my groove. Let's see if we got anything for the Ohio Capital Journal real quick. And I appreciate you guys tuning in with me on the late night. Like I said, it's gonna be I'm gonna wrap up by 12, by midnight. I don't got a lot of steam for y'all tonight. The Ohio Republican U.S. Senator John Husted speaks against abortion pills during Senate hearing. 3 people arrested while protesting Customs and Border Patrol recruiters at Ohio State University. Springfield, Ohio, waits mass thugs out to brutalize neighbors and stomp on the Bill of Rights. Let's see if we got any cannabis news coming out of the state. I don't see anything. Marijuana. content over there. All right, I'm gonna go to the no to SB56 website. Let me go on Facebook real quick. I'm trying to find this website for you guys, um, from the folks that are leading the charge with SB56. Say no. I will show y'all this though. Because OCAN think they playing games. The new Mando Diddy and then Mr. G with the G. What's good, y'all? Thanks for tapping in. Have they even really explained SB56 yet? Yeah, they explained SB56. So SB56, I'll just give you guys a blanket of what SB56 is, right? So SB56, it capped dispensaries in the state at 400. It reduced THC from 90% to 70%, I believe, in flour. There was something for concentrates as well. This is all off the top of the dome, too. It added fines and criminal penalties. So it also ended public consumption pretty much anywhere. So public consumption now is a finable offense. And a lot of these fines end or move to criminal offenses. Traveling with cannabis across state lines from Michigan to Ohio is now a criminal offense. Obviously, it was already federally illegal. We talk about this, but at the state level, they weren't prosecuting people because, again, cannabis is legal in both Michigan and Ohio for medicinal and recreational purposes. So now the state of Ohio is basically saying, if you go up to Michigan and you cross state lines with bud from, Michigan, it's now arrestable, or I believe fines, arrestable offense. You have to now drive with cannabis in your trunk. So if you do have cannabis, it must be in your trunk. If you don't have a trunk, it must be the farthest part of the car behind the driver's seat. Smoking in your car is now illegal. It also allows for discrimination and probable cause again with the police officers. So police can now openly discriminate against you. Let's say you smell like weed, you get pulled over. Let's say you weren't smoking in the car. Let's say you smoked at home. Smoked in the garage. We all do it. Chill for a little bit, get in the car, maybe you got the munchies, right? Go to the grocery store, go fast food, go somewhere. Whoop, whoop, get pulled over. Roll down your window. Sir, you been smoking? Nah, yeah. And don't talk to the police, by the way. I don't want to discuss my day. Why am I being pulled over, right? Pot brothers at law. I mean, hopefully we can get the pot brothers at law on the show one day. But do not discuss your day with the police officers. So essentially probable cause, right? Like if they smell weed, they can pull you out the car, search the car. So now that's back in play. They also allow for discrimination with employers. So if your employer wants to drug test you randomly and you fail a drug test, they can fire you and then you won't be eligible for your unemployment benefits. So that was one of the things they put in SB 56. Landlords can discriminate. So, again, if you're renting, a landlord could obviously discriminate against you with cannabis consumption in the, apartment, townhouse. Obviously, that affects you growing if they don't want you growing in their house that they own and you're just renting. Also, what else did they add in there? Yeah, there was a couple other things. And then they gutted the social equity. So 36% of that tax revenue was slated for social equity. Another 36% was slated for the community fund. So they took out 36% for the social equity fund. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that, obviously was in there. It still allows up to 12 plants. They put a law because before you couldn't be prosecuted until you had more than 23 plants. So now it's like you can't have more than 12. So they put that in there, I believe, for home grow. And that's all that's coming to the top of my head with SB 56. Those ideas came from, I would say, OCAN. So OCAN is I've done videos on this before, but I'll just give you a refresher. So OCAN is a nonprofit, Ohio Cannabis Coalition, and they are basically the lobbying arm of the major cannabis companies in the state of Ohio right now. So some of the MSOs, Buckeye Relief, Amplify. So a lot of those major companies are under the OCAN umbrella, and OCAN has been one of the one. Oh, also they basically gutted the hemp program. So a lot of the head shops, gas stations, any place selling Delta 9, Delta 8, THC, they basically cut all that out. THC drinks, pretty much cut those out as well with SB 56. They basically said any products that are hemp related have to be sold in a dispensary now, a legal dispensary by the state. So that was something else. But yeah, OCAN and Adrian Robbins, who is the deputy executive director, who just became the deputy executive director a year ago. I don't think the girl's ever smoked. I don't know. I could be wrong. She actually used to work with my wife at the news station. So she went from a news reporter, news anchor, to then being working at a lobbying firm. And now she's at OCAN. And so she has been like the mouthpiece. She's at the state house. She's the one, going to the legislators in their ear. They're having meetings and events. So yeah, these are the people that are against the community, or that's where the ideas came from. What's a moratorium? So a moratorium is basically the cities are allowed to basically say, we don't want cannabis in our community, right? Cannabis is legal throughout the state, but you also have cities that can say, well, we don't want dispensaries in our community, right? In our city. So basically a moratorium is, that they're not allowing cannabis companies to be put into their cities. And I've done an article, or I've done a video on that too, but I can go back over it for you guys. OSU has some really good content. Drug enforcement policy center. And a lot of the information I get, guys, is coming directly from sources too. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not really just pulling this shit out of my ass. You know what I mean? There's a lot of information that can be found online. And that's usually where I go. But Ohio State has this right here. Go ahead and share my screen. Yeah. So Morris College of Law, Drug Enforcement Policy Center. So they have a lot of content on here too, just educational stuff, following, the cannabis industry. Let me see. Where's their information at? Maybe some library. Yeah, there was a place where they had a list of the moratorium, or they had a map of the moratoriums. So I'm gonna see if I can find that for y'all. Map of Ohio cannabis moratoriums. All right, here we go. Here we go. It's a little searching. Ain't nothing, nobody hurt nobody. All right, found it for you guys. So here's the list of, or here's a map of the moratorium. So you can see right here it says active moratorium, moratorium no longer active. I guess I'll go ahead to it might explain. Yeah, so in November 2023, 57% of the voters in Ohio voted for issue 2, a ballot initiative which legalized adult marijuana use. Ohio allows local jurisdictions to enact ordinances to prohibit or limit the operation of adult use cannabis businesses within their boundaries. So this page presents information on 127 active local moratoriums enacted by Ohio jurisdictions as of January 12, 2026. Please note that the list of moratoriums may not be comprehensive and will continue to be updated as new information becomes available. So the green is where the active moratoriums are. So you can see, you know, and then so it shows you moratorium by population size right here. And then here are the actual places. So you can see all the cities, townships. Let me know if y'all see y'all city on here too. Also, let me know where y'all tapping in from. This is right around the corner from me, Blendon Township. Chillicothe, Circleville, Delaware, Eaton, Franklin Township. So yeah, these are all of the places in Ohio with moratoriums right now. Pretty extensive list. New Albany. I'm in Columbus, so Pataskala, Perry Township, Springfield Township, Tip City, Trotwood. The moratoriums are generally brief and often describe the need to ensure public peace, health, safety, and welfare of the locality's citizens, end quote. The moratoriums are also often cite the need for time to review current ordinances and identify any conflicting laws with state law legalizing marijuana, or to wait for lawmakers in the Ohio General Assembly to revise issue 2 before making any changes on their own code. Multiple jurisdictions have indicated an intent to actively study current law and create recommendations for their locality once the final state rules for the adult use recreational industry are adopted. So, let me see. Prejudice. Yeah, but again, Ohio's been known, to be this way. And so this is why more people have to speak up vocally. It's not good enough to just be at home. We're in a different time. You know what I mean? Like, people got to realize, like, cannabis is challenging a lot of the stereotypical things that have happened in America, right? I just read an article yesterday that said alcohol companies have lost over $800 billion in the last 4 years. Well, where do you think that comes from, right? Ohio's had legal cannabis, recreational or adult use for a year, but we've had medical for the last 6 years, right? So you have other options. Obviously, you have THC drinks. You have CBD. You have people, obviously, the federal hemp farm bill before they closed the loophole. People, millennials and Gen Z are more health conscious. You know what I mean? The attorney general also, with Biden, came out and said alcohol causes 7 different forms of cancer. So you have people that are more aware, there's more information, right? So people aren't going towards alcohol like they used to. And so a lot of these alcohol companies are losing money. Alcohol staying on the shelves, bars, they can't sell alcohol. You know what I mean? And so again, you have the alcohol lobby, you have the tobacco lobby, you have the pharmaceutical lobby. Ohio is big in all that stuff. You know what I mean? Also, one of the issues with Ohio was obviously cannabis consumption. Ohio is a heavy labor state, manufacturing, warehouse, truck driver, stuff like that. So a lot of the big businesses, they're against it as well because, if you work a job where you're maybe working heavy machinery, let's say even if you smoked the night before, right? Just like a lot of people go home, have a drink, have a glass of wine, have a few beers, have a scotch, you know what I mean? Whatever you do, just like you might smoke a bowl, right? You might have a J after work. But guess what? When you go to work that next day and you have a random drug test, they're not testing you for alcohol, right? They testing you for weed. So then you fail the weed test, even though you smoked last night, or even if you smoked the morning, like we all know you ain't impaired from smoking weed, right? Real smokers ain't, real. When I smoke weed, it levels me out, right? It balances me, right? So, but again, if you get drug tested, that weed is in your system. Now you fail the drug test, you get fired because now they can. I mean, Ohio's an at-will state, so they can fire you for any reason. So then you get fired because you consume cannabis, even if you're a medical patient, I believe, and then you don't get unemployment. You know what I mean? So again, it reinforces the habits, right? Also with the prison system, right? You got to understand most people are locked up for weed charges or minor drug charges. So what happens if we have to expunge all them records? You got to get people out of the system. You got to empty the prisons. You lose jobs in the prisons, right? So all these small towns and counties that have these prisons that have however many beds in them, 800 beds, 1,000 beds, whatever. Now you're not getting as many prisoners. So now you got to lay off workers, right? The cops ain't as big. So it's changing the system, right? They're not arresting as many people for random drug charges or regular random trafficking. So, you know, but this is why the people have to keep speaking up. People got to keep stepping up because it's the will of the people. The article I just read, Senator Huffman said the people spoke and we listened. No, you haven't. Like there were over like 40 people going to testify at the state house when they were originally crafting SB 56. Tons of people showing up every time and they ignored all of us. You know what I mean? But this is why people have to show up to the state house and you have to email them. You have to call them. I mean, and I know a lot of people, oh, I'm gonna just keep going to Michigan. I'm gonna keep doing this. And it's like, all right, like that's fine. Be selfish, right? I get it. You ain't got to tell me. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people, like I'm just gonna do it. Like okay, but what about the people who can't afford the fines, right? What about the people who have been historically hurt by weed? When again, it's been legal now. You know what I mean? But you have certain communities that have different protections. I grew up in the suburbs, so I know how it go. I went to Catholic private school, so I know how it go. I was a Division I All-American football player, so I know how it goes. I've gotten out of a lot of shit because of my celebrity, because of who I am. You know what I mean? But I understand that everybody doesn't have that privilege. So am I just gonna be like, well, shit, I'm cool because you know what I mean? Like I got rings, I got connections, or will I support my brothers and sisters who may not have the same opportunities that I got, but they deserve to go to jail for the same weed that I'm smoking? And I'm not gonna speak up on behalf of them. That's fucked up. And that's what a lot of these cannabis owners are doing. The people that own these cultivators, processors, and dispensaries, we don't see them. I haven't heard none of them speak up. We don't see none of them educating the community about cannabis. We don't see none of them reaching into their pockets to give back to the communities. We don't see them making sure that a lot of these urban communities that have been ravaged by drugs are redeveloped, reinvested in, pouring into the education, pouring into the kids, pouring into the healthcare system, pouring into the roads, pouring into sidewalks, pouring into the infrastructure, right? Cannabis dollars can do that, right? That's what the social equity was for. But if you don't speak up, a closed mouth don't get fed. And it's a lot of people that'll talk a lot of shit online, but don't show up, right? They're not showing up. You got to show up. So everyone is going to go through the drive-through and then have to pull over and put it in the trunk. Yeah, essentially. Packages can't be oh yeah. If you're traveling with cannabis, it has to be in the original packaging. That was another thing in SB 56. And so check this out. All right. If you grow your own, right? Like if you have your own in a mason jar, this is my original packaging. It doesn't have a label, right? Like it's not, and this is not for promotion, but this is one of the cannabis brands, right? So, if I'm driving with mine, like, what's the original packaging if you grow your own weed? You know what I mean? So, yeah, I didn't even think about that though. Yeah, if you drive through the drive-through, you gotta pull over and put it in the trunk. And again, they're not going to be able to catch everybody, right? Like again, like I don't know how they're going to enforce all these laws and rules and regulations, right? That's what we gotta wait and see. But that's why I'm trying to educate y'all, because again, we do have the referendum going out in hopes to change the law, put something on the ballot to go against SB 56. But again, that's another hurdle. You know what I mean? The law goes into effect 90 days after it was signed. So it was signed, what, a couple weeks ago now. So, we got less than 3 months. They already said basically take all the Delta 9, Delta 8 THC stuff off the shelves. They basically said take the THC drinks off the shelf. You have to smuggle it home. Yes, sir. Essentially. And I mean, essentially, it recriminalizes basic cannabis possession again. You know what I mean? It criminalizes smell, it criminalizes just being a consumer. But just imagine this, imagine being a senior, right? We got a lot of seniors, we got a lot of people, elderly people who go get their weed. So imagine, a little grandma. I seen grandma in the, like, I go to the dispensary to like do my research, right? And so I be seeing hella grandmas in there, grandpas going to get their little treat. So imagine a grandma get pulled over with her weed. She ain't put it in the trunk. She don't know the law. You gonna arrest grandma? You gonna put grandma? You gonna give grandma a fine for her medicine? I remember that from your community post about moratorium locations. Yeah, moratoriums are prejudice. Yeah, for sure. And moratoriums are also, and it's an elitist concept, right? So a lot of the moratoriums, if you see them, like typically most of them, they're like suburban communities. You know what I mean? So again, it's one of those things like we don't want those type of people here, right? Like cannabis is going to bring more drug activity, or it's going to bring drug activities. It's going to bring violence. We haven't seen an uptick in violence since cannabis has legalized in the state of Ohio, have we? There has not been an uptick in violent crime. I know in Columbus, we've actually had less murders. So again, I mean, I know people that smoke weed. Like I have never seen nobody fight high. Never. I've been smoking weed a long time. I started smoking weed when I was 16. I am now 36. That's 20 years. I've never seen that. You might get in a little passionate discussion, but I've never seen nobody, square up and niggas be like this. Put him up. I have never seen nobody. I never seen nobody get shot, shoot nobody over no weed. You might get shot over some weed, tried to steal some weed or some shit, but just smoking it, nah. Now, if we all go and drink, a couple handles of liquor, you got some vodka, I got some Henny, he got some, it might be some problems. Is anyone going to call bullshit on all of this? Yeah, we've been calling bullshit. It's a lot of people calling bullshit. But again, they're doing what they want to do. We live in a Republican gerrymandered state. So they're doing whatever they want to do. So again, we voted in the law. Unfortunately, the way we voted the law in, it wasn't a constitutional amendment. So a constitutional amendment would have made, cannabis legal in the Constitution, right? So we did a citizens initiated statute, which allows the politicians to change it if they want to, right? They didn't have to, they wanted to. And so that's why they're fucking with us, you know what I mean? Because it wasn't done in a constitutional amendment. So that's probably going to be what has to happen eventually. But again, who has that money? Who's going to organize, right? Who's going to organize that? Who's going to pull together that money? Who's going to go to the law firm? What law firm is it? Like? It's a lot of work. You know what I mean? So, I mean, essentially, they duped us, right? Like the folks from issue 2 regulate marijuana like alcohol, right? I mean, they're not regulating marijuana like alcohol. Think about it. They just legalized adults, parents, and guardians can give their children alcohol at bars and restaurants, and the restaurant has to serve them essentially. You know what I mean? Like if they're not 21. So yeah, I'll bring up the no to SB 56 too. There's a group that has been doing some work. Police and politicians acting like they are our parents, right? I mean, that's the thing too. It's like, how do you know what's best for us? You know what I mean? Like we grown ass adults, and they keep saying, "Oh, we're trying to protect the children. We're trying to protect the children." So, all right, I get the Delta 9, Delta 8 stuff at the gas stations. You don't know what's in it. Lord knows where these gas stations are getting the weed from. Everybody's not carding. People. They keep saying children. It's probably 17, 18-year-olds coming to the stop shop getting, it's people that look grown, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of different things, right? Like, but it's just a bunch of bullshit. They're trying to treat us like children, for sure. They gotta grow up, for sure. Let me see. 3.3 billion reasons to love the miracle plan. So you saying they don't want to see a youngin make it? Basically. They want you to be a slave in Ohio. You know what I mean? So that's why I tell everybody, get your LLC, get your business right. You know what I mean? Because if you're your own boss, you're gonna drug test yourself. I tell you one thing, I don't drug test myself. I got multiple businesses. So, again, they want you to be a slave in Ohio. It's a working state, labor state. They still selling THCA. Yeah, and they about to start getting raided too. It's just another case of WS, the many arms of greed that monopolize the world. Yeah. It's all about the money and control, for sure. Always they tripping. Well, and two, again, when you got to think about pharmaceuticals, right? Pharmaceuticals, alcohol, right? So if you put cannabis in that mix, how many people are on pharmaceuticals and alcohol, and then they start to use cannabis? Now you got that pharmaceutical money. I don't need those pharmaceuticals no that much anymore, right? You got irritable bowel syndrome, you got chronic pain, you're dealing with whatever you're dealing with. You find cannabis, you find something that works with your body, with your system, whether it's a topical, whether it's a tincture, whether it's some edibles, whatever, just flower concentrates. And now you're seeing that money go from pharmaceuticals over to weed. You're seeing that alcohol money go from alcohol over to weed, right? And so in the state, we've sold what, $3.3 billion, and then obviously Lord knows how much money is being made on the illicit market or the legacy market. Lord knows how much money Michigan is making off of Ohio. Obviously, you can still get cannabis shipped in. You know what I mean? So if they just open up the market, you know what I mean? Like, we should have tier 3. We still don't have tier 3. I think they're gutting that. I don't even think they're going to do tier 3. But tier 3 craft grow licenses, still none of those. We still don't have delivery, right? So there's still, I mean, the industry hasn't even fully opened yet. We haven't even fully celebrated. We were in COVID when we got legalization, for real, for real. So it's like we haven't even really celebrated. Also, one of my goals, I've had this idea for a while, and I think I'm going to try to execute. I want to do a cannabis rally at the state house, you know what I mean, or a cannabis like cookout on the state house lawn. You know what I mean? Bring your blankets, bring some food, bring some music, whatever. Bring your weed. You know what I mean? And we smoke on the state house lawn. You know what I mean? In the capital city. So um, I've had that idea. So we'll see if I'm able to pull it off. Usually when I have ideas, I try to make it happen. So um, be on the lookout for that event. Ohio voted for Obama. Yeah, and then they went completely and voted for Donald Trump. They said enough of obesity, boy. Well, and that's what's crazy about too. Like Obama got folks, health care, and then all the folks, I don't want Obamacare. You know what I mean? Like you ain't have no health care. Now, guess what Trump doing? A lot of these rural hospitals about to get shut down. I just saw a video the other day of a community out there. I think it was by Cleveland, and it was a hospital. Basically, they're doing their last call, so they were calling, all the like, I guess the ambulances or whatever. They had everybody on like the microphone. It was like, yeah, this is our last call. We're shutting down the hospital. Bloop. So yeah, a lot of people gonna get hurt, man. With these Trump policies, and it's gonna be sad. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of people that voted for Trump. You know what I mean? I really don't be liking to get all into that stuff. I knew Trump was gonna shake shit up, and I knew it was gonna get ugly. But at some point, the people gotta wake up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't the racism, the prejudice. Um, you know, you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. So, them tariffs, inflated costs, gas prices fluctuating. Go to the gas station one day it's $2.30, the next day it's $2.90. You know, man, they get scared if Ohio becomes a Democrat stronghold. Republicans will never win again, for sure. And that's why they gerrymander the state, right? So the state is super gerrymandered. Um, I think we're gonna see a blue wave, though. I think a lot of people are fed up. Ohio's a different breed, man. But I think people are definitely fed up um, with the BS. So we'll see, man. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. Let me see if I got anything else for y'all. Reports and studies. Because they did have some more information on the policy. I'll show y'all OCAN though too, so y'all could be familiar. They be talking that talk too. All right. So here's the OCAN page. Let me pull it up for y'all real quick. 12 came up quick. All right, so here's OCAN's page. So the Ohio Cannabis Coalition. See if they updated 2025. So here are, let's see. So here's their leadership, OCAN's leadership. So it's the executive director, David Bowling. He was a member of the DCC, which is Department of Commerce, or Department of Cannabis Control when they first started. So here's Adrienne Robbins. She's been the mouthpiece of OCAN for the last year. So if you got a problem with SB 56, email this chick right here, man. Adrienne.robbins@ocan.com. Give her a mouthful, you know what I mean? Let her hear it. Adrian Robbins was appointed deputy executive director in the early 2025, bro. We just hit 2020. She only been here for a year, bro. Robbins brings a wealth of experience. She don't know shit about cannabis, though. I'll tell you that. To OCAN, having spent years leading successful communications campaigns and navigating public policy in Ohio as a consultant. And I don't think she's been doing that for that long. Like, she was literally just at the TV station a couple years ago. A former TV news reporter. Like, how do you go from this is what I want to know, y'all. How do you go from news reporter and news anchor to a cannabis lobbyist? My God. She has a proven track record in media relations, crisis communications, and public affairs. And this is why I'm making her work for her money. This is why I talk about her. You got to make them work. She a PR person. All right, we're going to put you on blast. Do this crisis communication. Right? Robbins is focused on strengthening relationships with who? With who? Lawmakers. Who's changing the law? The lawmakers, regulators, and stakeholders. Ensuring the organization's voice is heard in what? Critical policy discussions. Oh, so you ask, who was pushing SB 56? Maybe the people who strengthens relationships with lawmakers, regulators, and stakeholders while ensuring the organization's voice is heard in critical policy discussions. Maybe that's the person or the people. And here's the board. So you have your board. So Andy Rayburn is the board president. He's also the CEO of Buckeye Relief. You have Adam Thermos, board secretary, Clutch Cannabis. These are all Ohio Cannabis companies. And so Buckeye Relief is a cultivator. They also have Amplified as the dispensary, Clutch Cannabis, cultivator. Then you have Riviera Creek. Then you have Ray Boyer, partner, Rooted Management Services. Jared Maloof, board member, Standard Wellness. Then you have Bill Williams, board member, CEO of Benelli's. Look at that. Look at all these CEOs. Who do you think they're going to bat for? You think they're going to bat for you and I? The consumer? The patient? No, they want more money, right? So they don't want the legacy market. They know they're losing money to the legacy market. They know they're losing money to the THC beverages. They know they're losing money to, Delta 9, Delta 8. They know they're losing money to the head shops. They know they're losing money, right? So if we can make as much money as possible before the industry ever even really opens, because nobody's really educating, we should be doing grow workshops every fucking day. If you're a grower, you should be educating your community on how to properly grow cannabis. You should be giving out clones to the community. $5, $10. We should overgrow the government, right? Everybody should be growing. Imagine if everybody took advantage of 12 plants. Let's say if half of the adults in Ohio decided, I'm gonna grow 6 plants, what would happen? But again, you have so many people afraid to put a seed in the dirt and water it and put some light on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird to me, especially with Ohio being an agricultural state. Why aren't we growing weed outside? We literally have 60% of Ohio's economy is agriculture? Could be way off. I don't know. But as soon as you leave the city, I know all I see is cornfields and soybeans. But again, it's still federally illegal, right? But people, you just gotta, the people have to wake up. The people. And you got to support the people doing the work too. There's people like me. There's people like Anthony Riley with Ohio Cannabis Live. There's Civics Cannabis. There's been a few different groups, man. Like, I do this for free. Like, I don't make no money off of streaming or looking this stuff up. You know what I mean? We accept donations though. All right, here's the members of OCAN. Just to give y'all a refresher. So here you go. You got Buckeye Relief, Amplify. These are the same, basically umbrella right? This is their cultivator processor, and this is how they where they sell it. Then you got Clutch Cannabis, Violent Scientific, Verdant, Verilife Dispensary, Standard Wellness, The Landing, The Forest, King City Gardens, Sunnyside, Benelli's, Riviera Creek, Uplift, Smithers, Southern Ohio Botanicals, Curaleaf, INSA, PharmaCann, Mega Equipment, and Supply, Nectar, Rise, North Coast Testing Labs, Ohio Green Systems, NAR Reserve, Dispot, Creatives, Packaging and Logistics, Italian Herbs, Mavunu, Ohio, Cresco, Franz Ward, Attorney at Law. This was the one, I believe this is the company that was pushing issue 2, the main lawyer dude. He's since disappeared. Kind of weird, huh? GIP, I don't know what that is. Green Investment Partners, Green Thumb, Ducci, Bloom Medicinal, Appalachian Farms, ACT Labs, Certified, HBK, CPA and Consultants, Story Cannabis, Shangri-La, Ice Miller, Backroad Wellness, AWH, Ascend Wellness Holdings, Green Analytics, and these are all big companies, y'all, like for the most part. Again, in order to have a cannabis business, all cash. Who has, let's say, I think the original application fees for dispensaries, cultivators range from like 50,000 to like I think like 100,000 or something like that, non-refundable. Then you had to have your facility. You had to have the money to be able to pay for security, obviously all the stuff you need to build out the facility. So let's just say on average it costs what, $5 to $10 million for a dispensary, cash. Who has that? Or let's see, let's drop it down to $1 million. Let's drop it down to 700,000. What average person can scrounge up 700,000 cash? And you might lose it because again, it's the cannabis industry, high regulations. They're always changing the rules. Where are you getting the weed from? Like when we started the medical program, where'd the weed come from? Where'd the clones come from? Where'd the seeds come from? It just popped out of thin air. Oh, we got a cannabis industry now. Oh, you know what I mean? What do we do? Like you got unmarked vans driving around pounds of weed throughout the state, right? You got local cannabis, Right Pat Credit Union, Grow Ohio, Dope Animation, Automation, and then Kegler, Brown, Hill, and Ritter. I don't know what they are. Law firm. Yeah, a law firm. So let me see, my bad. Follow the old white guy. Hey, that's how I do. Follow the money. Who is the DCC? So the DCC is the Department of Cannabis Control. They're the ones that are regulating the whole industry. They're the ones coming up the rules, regulations, etc. If only I could. What's up, Phil? My neighbor does. USDA is all for hemp, but not real weed. Yeah. Well, and that's again, well, I mean, we have to get it federally legal, right? Like, again, cannabis is still federally illegal. So that's why we're still having to deal with a lot of the issues that we're dealing with. And then obviously the government wants full control, right? Because then they want to be able to do research. They want to, think about it. So Ohio State is a federal land grant institute, right? And so they do research and studies on science and bioscience and shit like that, right? So again, once it gets legal federally, what do you think is going to happen? The pharmaceutical companies are going to jump in, the alcohol companies are going to jump in, the tobacco companies are going to jump in, and everybody's going to be trying to create their own derivatives so they can corner the market, so then they can create their own drugs to then sell, to then capitalize, right? So that's why cannabis being free, right? If we all just grow our own, it's like growing your own food. We can complain as much as we want about prices going up at the dispenser or prices going up at the grocery store, prices going up here. You have to create other avenues, right? If you grow your own food and you eat healthier, what's going to happen to the grocery stores? They're going to shut down, right? They're not going to be able to 75% of the grocery store is junk, right? You go around the perimeter of the grocery store, right? Like I go to Kroger, so just my Kroger. You walk in and you got your produce, right? So you got all your fruits, vegetables, herbs right here. So then you go over here, you got your meats, you got your breads, you got your cake and stuff right there. And then you go behind, you got your meat. Let's say you got pastas, you got cheese, you got milk, eggs, right? This is all on the outside. Then you get to the inside of the grocery store. And what do you have? Right? Bread, you got chips, you got snacks and shit like that, candy. But half of that shit you don't really need. And then you got the frozen food section, obviously. But then half the food be fake food. Like it don't even be, it'd be ultra processed foods, you know. But Ohio is an unhealthy state. I mean, Ohio ranks near the bottom in a lot of issues, whether it's healthcare, education. Um, we got a lot of work to do here in Ohio. Did I skip some? All sell THCA flower. Damn, that's a lot of fingers in the pie. Thought when they started, they said it was supposed to be grown, processed, and sold in Ohio. Yeah, I mean, so all the stuff in our legal adult use, recreational, and med program, it's all grown here. But again, we got multi-state operators, right? You got like people like True Leaf. You got some of these companies that have companies all over the country, right? So yeah, the weed is grown here. Oh, you was probably referring to that. We all popping bottles on you. Who are the people in the DCC? I'll find that out. It can stay federally illegal and legal state to state. Okay, totally see your point. We get weed. I don't even like. So, Department of Cannabis Control. All right, that's my last thing, and then I'm hitting the sheets for the night. All right, so here's the Department of Cannabis Control. I don't even know about DCC. So this kind of just shows you again all of the like laws, right? So cannabis entity record keeping, business to business transfers, authorized cannabis forms and methods, limitations on THC content, cannabis, dispensary inventory control. So this is basically like all the rules, right? Advertising. So that's what, the DCC is all about. They are the regulating arm. So this is Jim Canepa. He's like the overseer of the DCC. So Jim Canepa is the superintendent of the Division of Cannabis Control. He joined the division in January 2024. Previously, Canepa served as superintendent of Division of Liquor Control. Oh, look at that. So the same guy that was over liquor is now over weed. Where he led the state's liquor modernization project and a successful effort to modernize systems and processes across the liquor enterprise. Prior to Commerce, Canepa served as chief of staff and legal affairs for the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency. So think about that. My man was at the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency, the Ohio EPA, then went to alcohol, now is over. Sounds like a lot of buddy stuff is going on at the state level, huh? He has served in numerous leadership roles in the Ohio state government, including with the Ohio Department of Public Safety and the Ohio Attorney General. Oh, wow. He's just a career guy, huh? Canepa began his career with the Franklin County, Ohio Prosecutor's Office. Oh, this guy has a hell of a resume, huh? Throughout his career, Canepa has been recognized for his exemplary work. He earned his Juris Doctor from Capital University Law School and a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration from Bowling Green State University. BG sucks. Here are the executives. Cheryl Maxfield. Cheryl was appointed director of the Department of Commerce by Governor Mike DeWine, January 2019. She serves as a member of the governor's cabinet and is responsible for the overall leadership and direction of this very diverse department. So there you go. Assistant director. Charity. Charity has served as assistant director and chief of staff at the Ohio Department of Commerce since 2019. In this role, she oversees the department's core administrative functions, including communications, fiscal, business services, human resources, information technology, and legal. She also oversees the agency's change management and process improvement initiatives, driving innovation and operation excellence across the organization. Oh, here you go. So I think these are just the people in the Department of Commerce, period. And then we'll go over to how much money. Let's see about Department of Cannabis Control. Let's see if they give us anything. It's not really giving us nothing that we ain't seen. So yeah, you can come here. I mean, this is again government website. This is open to the public. Like I don't have no real insight. I get some insider information, but nothing crazy. You know, a lot of people in the industry are spooked. I know a few people in the industry, and they all be scared. You know, folks are scared to lose their job and stuff like that, which is very understandable. But again, you can email us. We'll keep you anonymous if you do have tips or anything to share with us. All right, so here's the update. So you can also come here to see the updates on the numbers. So we have 37 cultivators. So this just shows you a list of all the cultivators. And then it shows you dual use cultivator level 2 or dual use cultivator level 1. So this basically shows you all of those. My bad. I mean, X out of there. Then you got your processors, you got your 8 testing labs, 195 dual use certificates of operations for dispensaries. We have 521 physicians that could recommend you for a medical card, and then patient caregiver numbers. Excuse me. So this shows you the patients that have recommendations, registered patients, patients with veteran status, patients with indignant status, patients with terminal diagnoses, patients with both an active and an active recommendation. So look at that. You have all these people with recommendations and then only this amount of people with an active registration and an active recommendation. One, because the weed's expensive, the cards are expensive. Some of the doctors are charging $100, $200 just for a med card, which is crazy. And then you got unique patients who've purchased medical cannabis. Then you got your registered caregivers, and then here is medical sales, or here are your non-medical and medical sales numbers. So this is the amount of pounds plant material that has been sold. Total 520,180. And then you have units of manufactured products. So that's just showing you like vapes and all the different manufactured products. And then you have total product sales. So non-medical, you got $1,109,405,593 for adult use recreational. And then for medical, you got $2,297,476,329 for a grand total of $3.4 billion in total cannabis sales. And then you have your average plant sales average $17.86 per 10th OZ, Plant sales average per gram, $6.31. Manufacturer sales average, $24.70. Let's see if they're hiring. Can we get a mole? Can we get a mole on the inside? Yeah, those are jobs. All right. So yeah, that's who they are. Point is, you can choose for yourself. Facts, though, let people bring it to the people. Jim was head of alcohol. Yeah. The DCC is doctors and cops. Well, it's the government, right? Like it's the government. What is the government? They're the regulating body. They are the feds, right? They are the cops. But again, who pays them? Where does their money come from, right? Your tax money. If you work a job, your tax money goes state, right? So again, regular people got to speak up, because right now in Ohio, it's the haves versus the have-nots. And so if you are making over $100,000, you are considered probably the cream of the crop in the state of Ohio. And so those are the people that are more active, from what I've seen, at the state level. But it's all, again, it's part of the system, right? Typically, the people with the haves are the business owners, right? They're the business leaders, they're the executives. Typically, the people with the have-nots are the workers, right? So you think the haves want you to be with them? No, they want to keep you subordinate. You know what I mean? So if you have a boss, right? If you work for a major company, corporation, I would check your boss and see where he's getting his money from, who he gives his money to and to support for political reasons. Chemical EPA man. So he knows jack shit about weed. Yeah, none of these people know anything about weed, but that's why we have to educate, right? People that smoke weed don't know about. I mean, I didn't know a lot about weed. Like, I didn't know about terpenes and shit like that until a few years ago, until I started hanging around a bunch of people that were growing weed. You know what I mean? And like, I don't put myself in that position to be like, I don't like Ohio Cannabis Report is not me like trying to educate y'all on weed, right? I know real growers. I would love for them to come on and educate y'all about weed. Like, I like to smoke weed. I grew some this past season, but I'd rather smoke it. I'd rather go to somebody that really grows weed, really knows what they're doing, and purchase it. You know what I mean? So, but I just come to share the news, the information. Like, but we have to teach people. You know what I mean? The people that grow should be teaching. You know what I mean? Stop gatekeeping. There's a lot of people want to gatekeep. So that's why I love my homies out in Athens, man. All the people in Athens overwhelmingly voted for cannabis legalization. I think it was like 77% of Athens voters voted for issue 2. And then they have the Cannabis Museum, where they do a lot of educating at the Cannabis Museum. And so there's a few people, some of our supporters from Ohio Cannabis Report. Shout out to Josh, shout out to Ronnie, shout out to Sarah Koya. Oh yeah, Sarah Koya is going to be. I don't think I mentioned Sarah Koya for the event, but Sarah Koya just let me know that she's going to be able to be on the event as well. The panel discussion, April 4th. And so Sarah Koya, she's a master grower. Her strain is Lemon G. She's also an entrepreneur. Oh, I did mention Sarah Koya, my bad. I did. I see a buddy group. Yeah. And I mean, we got to create more co-ops too, like, more inclusive communities, you know what I mean, that are willing to bring people along, you know what I mean? So, I mean, shout out to the folks in Athens. They do grower workshops at the Cannabis Museum in Athens. Sarah Koya, she has Cool Digs. She typically does some type of event supporting home grow. Ronnie usually, again, gives out clones and seeds and flour to veterans. So people should be taking notes from Athens, folks out in Athens. That's where I fell in love with weed. You see me, you see everything around me say OU. So, you know, shout out to the folks out there in Appalachia. They don't want weed from hemp. DCC is the problem. Remove weed from the Department of Commerce. Yeah, it shouldn't even be there, right? Seems like a homeboy chilling, but if you're listening. Bottom line, they're extorting the plant, the people, and the program. Bottom line, that's right. That's why the people should be pissed. Ohioans should be pissed, man. We voted for what we voted for. And the whole time they were like, oh, we feel like y'all don't know what y'all voted for. Like the whole time we were doing like testimonies at the state house against, like, I don't think people have been paying attention. Like we have been going at this for more than a year with the legislators about, like, as soon as the law passed, issue 2 passed, they started formulating SB 56. There was plenty of times where we went to the state house. You had the Senate, you had the House, went back and forth, testimony, testify. Like we had 30, 40 people show up to testify, you know what I mean, against SB 56. And they were saying on the record, and I've posted so many videos. Just go back and watch some of the content from 5-6 months ago where they were like, oh, we don't think you guys knew what you voted for. so you're saying, let's just say people 21 and up, right? Even though you could be 18 and up to vote. Over 56% of Ohio voters voted for cannabis legalization issue 2. And you're saying that 56% of adults in Ohio didn't know what they were voting? We didn't know? How? We can't read? We're illiterate? Like all 56% of us? That's crazy. But then all the stuff that the people really wanted, they got it, right? Public consumption, got it. Obviously, we still got home grow. We still got, you can go get it. But again, if you don't own a home, where are you smoking your weed at legally, right? We know people are still going to do it in an apartment, right? Like, I get all that. We know people are still going to do those things. But when you take the law, all right, if it says you can't smoke in your car, you can't smoke in your house or your apartment because the landlord can do whatever you want, where do you smoke? All right, where most people smoke, they smoke outside, right? Or they smoke in their car. So now those things are illegal. We don't have lounges where you can smoke. Also, it says you can't smoke in bars or restaurants, even if the bar restaurant owner allows it. It's still illegal, right? It's not saying that it's not going to happen. It's just saying that by the law, it's illegal. So some people will get tripped up. Not everybody, right? But nobody should be getting tripped up for anything related to weed. You know what I mean? Like, especially low level shit. So that's my issue with it. It's like, you know, it's only, I mean, these SB 56 is not going to hurt people with money. It's not going to hurt people that own businesses. It's not going to hurt people that have pool. It's going to hurt poor working class people, right? The people who issue 2 was really supposed to help, right? Again, with social equity, you know, creating jobs, more opportunities for these communities. You could still go to a lot of, you know, I can go to Linden, King Lincoln District, Mount Vernon. I can go to a lot of these communities that are heavily Black people in Columbus. I don't know about Cleveland, Cincinnati. I haven't been up there yet. I'm supposed to be doing a podcast in Cincinnati in a couple months. I went up to Cincinnati for Pothead Genius event, but I pretty much stay local. You know what I mean? I don't really leave Columbus like that. Somebody has some events though. If y'all out in Cleveland or Cincinnati or whatever, hit me up. I'll make a trip every now and again. I go to Athens every now and again. We went up to Cleveland last year for Anthony Riley's event. He had Ohio Cannabis Expo in Cleveland at the Hall of Fame. But, you know, we got to start putting on more events, educating folks, create more platforms. You know what I mean? Like, somebody else create a platform. Like, it's easy. Like, it's free, right? YouTube is free. Instagram is free. TikTok is free. Just create the platform and talk your shit. That's all I do. But why does a sheriff qualify for weed knowledge? Yeah, they don't know shit. Cal Mag is amazing. I'm not growing THCA. Flushing it is fire. I know what I voted for. Yeah, we do know what we voted for. The only way you can get 56 overturned is separating intoxicating hemp from marijuana. Yep. Let me see if I can find that. Oh, here it is. Found it. So this is my last thing for show because I wanted to show y'all this. So if you want to, they are taking signatures, I believe. Yeah, I think they might have got enough signatures. Let me put that out there. I lost it. Where did it go? Where did you go? No, on SB56. Why is it not popping up on my screen share? Was canceled. I literally just found it. Now I gotta. Why is it not popping up on my screen? That's weird. Oh, there you go. All right. So here's the website. If you guys want to follow No on SB56, supporting Ohio businesses, stop government overreach. And this is like bars that sell THCA drink or THC drinks. I think App Girls Cannabis is also a part. Shout out to the homies over at App Girls Cannabis. I think they're a part of this as well. So here's the website that you guys can follow along. It's noonsb56.com. And basically they are fundraising and collecting signatures. So this is a pledge to sign the petition. The first step to standing up against the government overreach is to get on the ballot so that Ohioans can vote on it. I think that's a typo. To do that, we need petitions signed. We are in the midst of a legal process to get our petition circulated. Please sign this pledge and let us know that you will sign our petition. Once we have petitions in the field, we will reach out to you with information on where you can sign. Thanks for the support. Then I think they're also seeking volunteers as well. So if you want to help collect signatures or be involved, that page is for you. Sorry. Here's the volunteer page. My bad. Let me get back up in here. And then you got to be registered to vote, to sign the petition. You know what I mean, for it to be valid. And then they got an area where you can check your registration. I'm sorry, I keep going and I'm not sharing the screen. So they just got links to show you to go check out your registration. Make sure you're up to date on registration. My bad, y'all. My bad. I'm tweaking. Yep, I'm tweaking. So these links just point to Frank LaRose, Ohio Secretary of State, to be able to check and see, check your registration, register to vote, and then volunteer. And then they also have Facebook group. So if you're on Facebook, I got 445 followers so far. So here's their Facebook page. And we're supposed to be having an interview with one of the folks from this group as well. So We're working on it. We're working on it. Tim Johnson, he's somebody that's been very active at the State House. He's a former cop. He's also got a cannabis business, like a cannabis security business.
Five of the biggest alcohol makers in the world are sitting on what's described as a lake of unsold alcohol, $22 billion worth of inventory, according to the Financial Times, a result of people drinking less than they used to. And to think there's still a week to go in dry January. Five of the biggest alcohol makers in the world are sitting on what's described as a lake of unsold alcohol, $22 billion worth of inventory, according to the Financial Times, a result of people drinking less than they used to. And to think there's still a week to go in dry January.
Yep. So, yeah, again, I mean, that's till November, but that's the only, I mean, it's law. The governor signed it into law. You know what I mean? He could have vetoed it. He made a couple like line item vetoes in the bill, but he signed it into law. So that means in 90 days, it goes into law. So again, we got to go back to the ballot and either do the referendum, or I don't know. Again, I'm not super versed in all of this, right? Like I'm just a reporter. Don't shoot the messenger, please. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm nobody special. You know what I mean? Like, he can reconsider at any time. Well, yeah, I mean, the problem is you can't get in touch with the governor. His mailbox is full. You call the governor's office, and his mailbox is always full. Um, you know, folks got to learn how to get in contact with the governor. Though he's got about 50 people that work for the governor in the governor's office. You know what I mean? 6 degrees of separation. Somebody got to be connected to the governor, right? Like he got to have a granddaughter, a niece, a nephew that be blowing it down. You know what I mean? Like I went to OU, man, like the number one party school in the country. John Husted daughter go to OU, and I know she probably getting turned. But all the drugs on college campuses, why don't college campuses ever get raided, bro? Like, I seen the most drugs in life in college, bro. I remember we went to this one party. I go in this one room. I play football, obviously, so it's about 5 or 6 dudes in this room, and I ain't never seen this much cocaine in my life. It was a fucking mountain of cocaine. I'm like, hey, like, you want some of this? I said, nah, but I'll watch. Our backup quarterback, my freshman year, he was like third, fourth string. He was the biggest drug dealer he's probably the biggest drug dealer on campus. He put about 20 pounds in the middle of the fucking island. I just got to college. Like, you got to think, 18 years old, just graduated high school, smoked a little bit of weed. 2 weeks after graduation, I'm on college campus. Think about a weekend. Get invited to the backup quarterback house. They're like, we having a track meet. I'm like, what the fuck is a track meet? Yeah, we just keep rolling blunts and keep smoking. What? We rolled about 20 blunts. It was probably about 10 of us. Probably more than that, but it might about 10, 15. And they just kept rolling blunt after blunt after blunt. One blunt go out, roll another one in rotation. The next day, I had to get drug tested by that school. Are you shitting me? I was so nervous. One, because I was a private school kid, 2-parent household. Yeah, I mean, I had the whole like clean cut. Yeah, I mean, like I'm all American. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to give the bad representation that, oh, he's one of them. You know what I mean? Because they already be having their preconceived thoughts of who you are. So the last thing I wanted them to do was be like, oh, he a pothead, you know what I mean? Because again, that just trickles down to a whole bunch of shit. And I had a bunch of teammates that would come in high, player or coaches knew they was smoking or whatever. So I don't know how, by the grace of God, though, I passed that drug test. I got drug tested about 6 times by the NCAA. and I talk about it in here. Courage and Cannabis. I share my cannabis story. This is also by Dr. Bridget Williams. She's a cannabis doctor here in Columbus, in Michigan. She put this book together. It's an anthology, so it's about 30 different stories. This is volume 2, The Triumphant Stories. You can purchase this on Amazon. It's also an ebook, so the ebook, I believe, is free on Amazon. But it's basically just a bunch of stories from different folks in the cannabis space. This is me when I have my dreads. But I just share my all-American cannabis story and basically just share how I played, college sports and how I navigated that landscape while consuming cannabis. So if you want a copy, hit me up. You know what I mean? $15, I'll give you a copy. I'll sign it. If you want a copy, hit me up. I'm only doing local though. I could $20 if I got to ship it. But yeah, also we had Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson wrote the foreword. Let it focus. So he actually wrote the foreword, and then the CEO of Tyson 2.0, Adam Wilkes, this guy, he wrote the foreword to the book. But yeah, there's some great stories in here too, man. Got Mary Johnson. She's a chef, herbalist, certified trainer, and DNA wellness programmer. You got Xavier Burrows. He's out of Ohio. He's a grower. You got Ed Rosenthal. If you're in the cannabis game, you should definitely know who Ed Rosenthal is, Guru of Ganja. Jennifer Boozer. Shout out to Jennifer Boozer, Canabama. Out of Alabama, Mobile. What else we got? So yeah, if y'all want a copy, Amy Carter out of Michigan. She's a part of the Michigan Weedsters. Let's see what other stories we had in here. Oh man, my guy Waxy Brown passed away too. He had I was on his podcast, and I believe I think he passed away last year. Really cool guy. Shout out to Rick, big Rick Antis out of Michigan. Yeah, there's some heavy hitters in here, man. Like, we've been doing the work, man. And this is part of the work too, sharing your story, right? That's why it's called Courage and Cannabis, right? It takes courage to be out in public and share your story in spite of what people may say or what people may think about you, what family may think about you, what corporate America may think about you. Though we have to get our stories out to the world, right? So many people have their thoughts on what cannabis is and what cannabis does to people, but not enough of us are explaining ourselves or, sharing, because again, to us is normal, right? Like, to me, smoking weed is normal. Like, it don't change me, right? It helps me, right? It helps improve my mood, helps me feel better, helps ease my pain. But again, sometimes we have to verbalize that, right? And let people know, because a lot of people are dealing with a lot of shit and they may not know where to go. They may just go to the doctor and the doctor be like, well, take this pill, take that pill, right? Or they see a commercial on TV and they see the symptoms. Oh, I'm dealing with that. So I'm going to go to the doctor and ask for this pill, not realizing or not paying attention to the end of the commercial where the commercial says you might lose your whole left limb. You know what I mean? Like, you might get cancer, you might all these other things, but you didn't took this pill. And now you got to take more pills to help you with something else, right? When cannabis is one of them things, like me, it helped me with my PTSD, right? Post-traumatic stress from, growing up in a traumatic household, growing up poor, working class, growing up, in Washington, D.C. with a lot of pressure, especially as an athlete, As an athlete, you deal with performance anxiety, right? You deal with chronic pain, you deal with so much, right? And so again, the reason people like athletes is because they see them and they're like, oh my God, like they're so fast, they're so strong, they're so cool. But it's like a lot of people don't see the behind the scenes of the athlete. You don't see what the athlete goes through on a day-to-day basis. You don't see the pressure. Most people don't have no pressure on them all day, every day, right? As an athlete, you got pressure on you 24/7, 365, right? Most people with jobs, you don't have nobody looking at you. You make a mistake, you make the wrong key, hit the wrong key, ain't nobody saying nothing. But when you play sports, you miss a shot. Oh my God, he should have made that shot. Oh, terrible pass. Oh, how do you, you're making millions of dollars. How do you do that? And it's like, he's human. She's human. You know what I mean? They also deal with real life, right? Like their parents die, somebody grandma die, and you got a game the next day and you got to play through that. You know, most people that took the day off of work, but professional athletes, they got to show up. And as consumers, we expect them to show up, right? We expect to have a good product every time, not realizing that athletes are labor. Just because they're making a lot of money doesn't mean they're not labor, right? What's 50% of $1 million, right? Which most athletes are being taxed at a tax rate that high because they're high earning employees. So yeah, the contract may say $5 million, but he's getting taxed at 50%. Then you have a jock tax, so you have to pay taxes in every city and state that you play in. So if you play in New York, you got to pay New York taxes. If you play in California, you got to pay California taxes. You play in this city, state, you got to pay that taxes. So a lot of these athletes, people wonder like, how do you make all this money and go broke? Well, you got to think about lifestyle, right? Buy a nice house, buy a condo, I mean, even if you buy a nice truck, right? You're gonna kit it out. Might buy your mom, dad a house, or pay off their car note, or pay off their house. You got lifestyle. You got to eat, right? Whether you have a chef, whether you're going out to eat every night. A lot of guys are coming from poverty, so again, you ain't never had this money in your life. So now you buying everything full retail price. Oh, I can get the Louis Vuitton bag, 2,500. Put it on the card, charge it. Most people don't know or realize league average is 4 years in the NFL, right? So you might only play for 3 years. You never get to your big contract. So you got to live the rest of your life off of $1 million, $2 million that again was taxed. So people just got to understand like the game, right? Like more nuanced than just your world. You got to understand there's levels to a lot of this shit. And a lot of people are uneducated. Just because they make a lot of money and they're on a pedestal and they're in front of you does not mean they are making a lot of money. Usually they are labor as well. Usually they're a pawn, just like you for the corporation, right? So that's what you have to understand. Like, and then most of these athletes and entertainers, they don't get involved politically because they're always traveling, right? Or they get cut and now they got to uproot their family and go to another city, right? So a lot of these people, they're not necessarily involved in politics. They don't know what's going on. They got money. They spend their money on what they want to spend their money on, or whatever their financial advisor suggests they spend their money on, right? Hopefully somebody special is watching. That's the hopes, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and share. Share it, share it, share it. But again, I mean, a lot of people, if you're a capitalist, if you're a true capitalists don't give a fuck about nobody but them. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why like capitalism is like, I've never been like when I was playing ball and once I got to the league, once I got to the NFL level, and I just saw like how gross the business was, like the business, because again, sports is supposed to be fun. You know what I mean? I played sports my whole life. And it was always fun until I got to high school. And then it really became the business because I went to a Catholic private high school. I was highly recruited and they were paying for my schooling. So I knew I had to perform. And I knew if I wanted to go to college, I had to perform, get to college. It's a business. I played before NIL too. So then you get to the league and it's like, yeah, this is business. And once it becomes business, like, for not for everybody, but for me, that shit wasn't fun no more. You know what I mean? And like your body starts hurting, body starts breaking down. You realize this shit don't last forever, you know. And for me, I was like, I'd rather have my body intact than, you know, make a couple 100,000, right? Like I wasn't a superstar. I mean, let's say I made $1 million. Like, okay, I'm gonna make 1 million. I already made $1 million. 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. I don't condone illegal activity, but they are trying to make just living illegal. I mean, what's illegal with Trump in office at this point? What's the law, right? Like, who's truly like what? It's man-made law. Like, these are fabricated laws. You know what I mean? Like, in my opinion, is it breaking the law if you don't get caught? I mean, that's basically how people live anyway, right? People break the law. People break laws every single day. Little laws, right? Little minute things, right? Maybe not a big thing, right? But you know, we break laws all the time. Ohio is one of the most corrupt political states too, by the way. So, you know, Ohio is a fraud, or America is fraudulent, right? Why does medicinal marijuana have to mean under doctor control? It doesn't, technically, right? I mean, you could say, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about growing your own medicine, right? Like, most of the dispensaries aren't going to have like the specific strain that works specifically for you and your endocannabinoid system. That's why home grow is important. So people can grow the strains that work for them, right? But again, they still haven't really equated cannabis to medical in a sense because, you know, I guess legal reasons. All right, last one. Quote, when you make your first meal cash, you're going to feel the pressure. Nipsey Hussle. We're going to end it on that for sure. For sure, because them taxes going to come. Family going to come. You got your investments. Got your family. That go quick. But I appreciate y'all for chilling with me tonight, man. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being engaged. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share this out. Follow us on our other platforms. If you have anything that you want to share, hit us up in the emails, ohiocannabisreport@gmail.com. Oh yeah, before I log off here, I'm gonna show y'all the event. I've been working on the event. Still in the process of finishing everything, but we pretty much have it together. I put DeWine on the main screen too. I promise it's my last thing for y'all. We gotta leave out on the Nipsey Hussle quote. Gotta leave out on the Nipsey Hussle joke. All right. So here's the we're on Eventbrite right now. We also have a link on Facebook that I'll link you back here. This is just for ticketing purposes. And again, we are doing a $10 for the event just to help support the event, help us do more events. I'm doing this all grassroots. Part of the profits will go to a nonprofit, GO nonprofit, Green Environmental Outreach, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. And so all the money will go to supporting this event. And then part of the resources will go to helping fund more events like this and other creative events that I'll be hosting and organizing. So anything helps, man. Like I said, I do this all just from passion and from just for the love of the plant, man, love of community. You know, so it's, to me, it's purpose, right? So here are some of the people. This is Bree Ebony Hempress. She's going to be our moderator host for the event. We got Ronnie out of Athens. We got Karen O'Keefe, Tasha Roundtree, and then so here's the flyer for the event. So again, April 4th, 2026, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Ground and Grind in Columbus, Ohio. We're going to talk all things cannabis legalization in Ohio. We're going to talk social equity. We're going to talk harm reduction, prohibition, all the good stuff. So this is the event page. You could just type in, if you go to Eventbrite, Central Ohio Cannabis Social Equity. and it'll bring you to this page. We're accepting donations as well. So again, if you feel led to share or support, we appreciate any and all the support we can get, except from OCAN. It's like, um, and that is all I got for y'all. So again, I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Substack, LinkedIn. I'm trying to hit all the spaces. So we're getting there. We're getting there. I thank you guys for the support. Also, if anybody wants to come on the show, just hit me up. Let me know. We love having people on the show. I love getting different perspectives. Love hearing people's stories. So if you want to chime in on the platform, if you got something to share, if whatever, hit me up. Again, you get it's probably best on if you're on Instagram to just direct message me. We're at Ohio_cannabis_report. We have 2 pages. I've had to switch to the Ohio_cannabis report because something's been funky with the Ohio Cannabis Report regular on Instagram. So I still have access to it through Facebook, but usually I don't do it. So, but if you want to be on the show, you can send me an email with your bio information, times that work for you. I usually go live randomly. I need to start doing some set times, but it's kind of difficult. Being a stay-at-home dad, I always got kids around. So usually late nights a little bit easier, or Wednesdays or Thursdays during the day. Today was a busy day. I had a dentist appointment. My wife and son were sick today too. So I was pretty busy today. But yeah, if you want to be on the show, talk that talk, man. We got to get more Ohioans speaking publicly, man. Like, Ohioans be scared, man. Ohioans will talk a lot of shit on Reddit. But man, I appreciate y'all. I hope y'all have a blessed evening, rest of your night. Have a good Friday, good weekend. If there's any events, anything going on that you think we should be aware of, just let me know. Peace and love.